Hey, Kyle, look at this, Kyle, the screen
That's me.
right in the middle. Kyle,
Troy's over here just letting me do my thing today.
I heard you have a lot of stuff to talk about, Kyle, and I don't want to slow you down.
Yeah, well, I try to make it brief, but knowing me, that ain't gonna happen. But have to represent my first triathlon, officially a paratriathlon. A couple weekends ago, went down to the Gary, Indiana area and did a triathlon called Leon's Triathlon. I had signed up with an organization called Dare2Tri, and they had an injured veterans training camp. So went down, and you do some training on Friday, you do some more training on Saturday, then you actually do the triathlon on Sunday. And Leon's Triathlon was started about 40 years ago in the Hammond, Indiana, by a local gentleman who I had the opportunity to meet, and he's an absolutely fascinating guy. The triathlon is geared more towards veterans and first responders, but anybody can do it. Now, speaking of Dare to Try, it's a fabulous group, fabulous organization based out of Chicago. Started about 15 years ago by two triathlons and an Army veteran who happened to be an amputee. And they've just developed this organization to help people learn how to do triathlons. Works a lot with veterans or folks with disabilities. And they have this injured veteran. So I said, okay, been swimming a lot, got the hand cycle bike, and I was supposed to have my racing wheelchair by the end of April to train. Now, there was a supply chain problem getting the parts for my bike, so I asked Dare to Try if I could borrow one from them, which they did. So Thursday, you go there and you meet the other competitors and the staff, the coaches, the trainers, incredible. You can tell that they're built for this. They've done plenty of triathlons. The other veterans, there are some that you are talking Paralympic level triathletes that are there training,
That's
sharing
you,
their
Kyle.
knowledge. No. Well, I know them now, but no. These guys are amazing. And it turns out one of them is actually from Delton, Michigan area, and he lived in Battle Creek for a while. So we start chatting. And so Thursday, I train a little bit. I was able to try out the racing wheelchair that they had, and it's a different style than the one that I had used previously, that I had borrowed from Mary Freebed last year,
Right.
and different than the one I'm getting built for me from the VA. The one I'm using is a kneeler, so it's a little easy for me to get in and out of. The one they had has a more of a closed frame, so a little difficult to get in. But I also learned that for every athlete that was there in the training camp, there's about two volunteers or staff members to help out,
Oh, I think I'm
including,
gonna have to jump in.
I'm telling you what, it's fascinating because they had medical staff there, they had chiropractors, they had massage therapists, and all these coaches. But I also learned that in a triathlon as a adaptive athlete, I need a handler, which is a person that helps
You do need
you.
a
I
handler.
need a handler. I probably need the
Like
handler.
in general.
Yeah, I probably need the handler year round, but the handler here helps you transition from one event, say from the swimming, uh, to the bicycle, etc. And the handler I had, Marianne, was absolutely fabulous because she's done a few triathlons,
So the event,
sets that up for you.
okay, they had
They're,
people, if you didn't have your own.
yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, and so and she's been a volunteer handler for Leon's Triathlon for 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
And the other Paralympian, other triathlete, veteran, she worked with him on his first triathlon about 5 years ago, and now he's pushing Paralympic level. It's like, yeah, great. I got the perfect handler. You know, as soon as they have the Golden Age Games or the Senior Paralympics,
Sounds
or
like she's gonna expect a lot out of you.
well, she'll be there next year because I know I'm going back. And the cool thing about Dare to Try is they have this injured veterans, which is kind of a beginner's course, because there were quite a few of us that were doing our first Triathlon on the veteran side. But they also do Next Level Up, which is in August, just outside Kenosha, Wisconsin. And then they do another level. So it's like, okay, it looks like I might be doing another one in August and then going back to do this one next year. But the triathlon's kind of addictive. So you do a little training at a high school in the area, and you got a swim coach and I mean, not just the other veterans working with you. And you kind of split up into groups, and my God, they feed you so much. It's like, oh my God. Because you get lunches every day and dinners, and it's like, okay, carbohydrate loading to the max. But even though I'd been swimming a lot, the swim coach was able to give me some tips on pool swimming, even though in the triathlon we're out in the water.
I wanted to ask you, and maybe I didn't hear you say this, but what are the distances?
Well, this one actually had two different distances. Actually, I take that back, three. The main distance, it's a sprint course. So the swimming was 750 yards, or you could have done the short one, 500. And then the bike was almost a 20K, so it was just short of 12 miles. And then the run part, or the racing wheelchair part, was a 5K. And the swim, well, so we got a little training in, and we train in the pool, and we kind of train around the parking lot of the high school, getting used to the equipment. Then the group Dare2Tri loads up all the equipment. You go do your thing Friday, dinner, come back Saturday, and then you're actually at the lake, which is closer to Gary, Indiana. So now you're actually going to train in the water, train on the course you're going to ride, as well as your run. And that Saturday was cold and breezy, and that lake was cold. And I even jumped in, and I had a shorty wetsuit, and I jumped in with that. And after a few minutes, it's like, I'm getting out because this is too much for me. But the road, it's right outside the actual triathlon. It starts at a boat landing, like a marina there in the Hammond, Indiana area. Try to say that fast twice. So, and then the road outside there is actually closed off for the entire event. And it's actually a Gold Star Highway, which is in memory of a family that lost military member during wartime, during combat. So it's kind of nice. And then the race, or the running part, or the racing wheelchair, is on this trail that kind of goes out around the lake, and it's really easy to get to. And this triathlon is not just for veterans or first responders. It's for anybody. So we train Saturday, and then you show up real early Sunday morning, and you're getting all your gear out in the transition area. And I figured, okay, no, wait a minute. So the lake should be a little warmer, but I'm not going to take a chance. And I had a very thin dive skin for my scuba diving days. And I put that on, and then put the shorty wetsuit over it. And I'm glad I did, because that water was still cold. Well, so they also have an Olympic level triathlon, which I think the swim is a little over a mile, and then it's I believe a 50K bike, or maybe only a 40K, because it's basically the double what we do. And there were a few of the injured vets that went and did that. So Sunday morning, you're there early, and there are massive amount of people there, competitors, and even more volunteers than, probably 4 or 5 volunteers and staff for every competitor, because medical staff, everything. And of course, all the police out on the roadblock and every road onto the road we're riding on. And of course, all the folks along the route giving you the Gatorade and water and stuff. So it just blew me away. And you go in different divisions. So there's some folks doing the 500, some folks, jumping in the water, taking off. So by the time my division, because a lot of us were adaptive athletes, but the division I was in was folks that had some type of lower extremity injury. whether it be back injury or an amputee or something like that. So jump in the water and they're not ready to send us yet. So I'm going, oh, can we go now? Because I'm already cold. But of course, they're going over the route and everything. It's, got to, this big buoy or that big buoy. And from where I'm going, I can't even see the buoys, man.
Oh.
I figure I'll just follow everybody
But
else.
he made it.
But I made it. So we go out, we make it through, and where you come out of the water, it is actually the boat ramp, which is very steep. And coming out of the water on Saturday, I need a little assistance, but they have volunteers to help us get out of the water. Everybody, whether you're an adaptive athlete or full up. So some of my fellow competitors actually getting carried out. I got the little, the arms over their shoulder.
You had the cutest girl. So
Oh no,
sure.
big muscular guy. He's carrying like, and then of course the distance between where you get out of the water and get on your bike is quite a long distance. So Dare2Tri was able to get me a sports wheelchair, which my handler said she would push, but I kind of just wheeled over. And then of course, you drop the wetsuit and put on a pair of shorts, and she helps me get on the bike and make sure, I got my tag on right, and of course, the cool thing about that is the address that I grew up in. I grew up here in town, and that was the address. So when I got that, I was like, really cool. But as opposed to pin it on, got this cool little Dare2Tri belt buckle, and of course, kind of leaning forward, so I got all scrunched up. But in all my training, partly due to the weather this year, I had not been out on my bike too much, and I had never gone 12 miles. So I get out, nice flat course.
How'd your trainer let you get away with that?
I'm gonna have to yell at myself for that because my trainer was pushing me. But I just know for next year. But I'm out there tooling around and just kind of breezing, and of course had to say hello to every officer that had the street stopped. And I'm just, it was a nice day. Finally make the 12 and go into the transition, and then to get into the bike or the racing wheelchair. It doesn't have the anti-tip wheel like mine does. So there were a couple instances where I kind of did a nice little wheelie. So the number one rule about getting on any equipment, put your helmet on first, just in case you do something stupid like I do and tip over.
Did you actually flip over?
Oh yeah.
Like, and someone had to help you back up, or could you get up on your own?
Well, I had to get out of the seat and get back up.
Oh.
But yeah. Oh yeah. I turtled. I was,
What are we gonna do with you?
Well, get me the anti-tip bar, that always helped. So my trainer was a big help getting me in. And so then I go wheeling out, and of course, some runners are passing me. I'm passing some other folks that are walking so just talking and having fun. And the racing wheelchair I have, without the anti-tip, you're on this trail, a paved trail, and you got to turn around, and it's like, just do a little wheelie and turn the wheel, and it's like, oh my God. So I get to the end, and you go through and you get this really cool heavy metal. And as soon as you go through, they put it around your neck. And this thing is so heavy, it almost pulled me forward out of my racing wheelchair.
We should have had a little scale, like weighed it.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
Yeah, it is very heavy,
God, it's heavy.
but completed it. I'm ecstatic, didn't really feel tired. I mean, my physical training with all the swimming and all the other things I've done had me geared for this. I could have done more, would have done it slowly. And I wasn't sore the next day, but I did not sports train. So I need to train more in the bike and also in the hand racing wheelchair. So everybody gets the medal. And then, of course, you're kind of decompressing and talking to other athletes and some of the other veterans. And I'm starting to wheel back towards my gear as they're giving out all the awards for the different division winners. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't see too many other of my amputation, the hip disarticulation, definitely not at my age. So I'm wheeling back, and all of a sudden they go, and the winner in this division is Kyle Plo. And I go, dude, seriously? And the folks on the stage are looking at me like, yeah, dude.
You are.
So my first triathlon, and I win my division. And of course, it's because I was the only one with my disability or adaptive ability in my age group. But the cool thing is this Leon's Triathlon also qualifies me to do the Hartford Games, which is next month in Grand Rapids,
Oh,
which is
nice.
a week-long competition of all events, field events, track events, everything. And I've qualified for the triathlon. So a few of the veterans that I competed with, trained with, got to know really well, will be there as well.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be doing that. And then definitely going back to do this one next year, and possibly the next, I think it's called Learn2Tri in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, so right outside Kenosha. But if you're looking for a triathlon, I don't care if you're an adaptive athlete or not, check out Learn2Tri. If you're an adaptive athlete and you want to learn how to do a triathlon, talk to Dare2Tri. D-A-R-E, Dare, numeral 2, try, T-R-I. Oh yeah, it's on the shirt, stupid. So Dare2Tri, great group of folks. Here in Michigan, there's another one that does a lot of triathlons and road racing, cycles, a lot of off-road stuff, gravel bikes, off-road running, that are really working with folks with disabilities. They deal with Mary Free Bed a lot. It's called TRIS, T-R-I-S, TRIS 4, number 4, health, TRIS for health. And they do the Grand Rapids, they do one in LaPorte, Indiana, a couple of more off-road triathlons. So,
Well, there he is.
Well, I'm back, but Dare2Tri is a great organization. If you're a veteran and want to do a triathlon, definitely get in touch with Dare2Tri. They'll set you up. I will be going back next year. There were quite a few folks there that this was their 4th or 5th year of doing this one. So it's a great organization. I learned a ton. Learned how to haul a U-Haul, pack it up with all my gear, took the dogs, came back with a lot less food for myself, but a lot more clothing, because you get like 3 or 4 shirts and all this other stuff. So, but it's an adventure. It is an experience. It's life-changing. It makes you realize that, I knew I could swim the distance. I wasn't sure I could do the swim, then the bike, then the run. And as an able-bodied, I'd done basically the same distance as an able-bodied years ago, decades ago. Good Lord. Here in Michigan at Sherman Lake, I'd done the little sprint years ago. So I knew I could do it as an able-bodied, but to go out there and do it as a adaptive athlete was life-changing. And I hate to say it, but it gets addictive. And it's the camaraderie too, not just of the fellow veterans, but also the other competitors that are there doing it, whether it's the first one or second one. You make friends for life and training partners and people you can contact, and it's an inspiration. So if you're looking to challenge yourself and you're interested in swimming or biking or running and putting them all together, go do a triathlon, because it's kind of like a tattoo. After you get the first one, you're gonna do more.
Oh, no,
So
it's addictive.
it is very well, especially, they give you all this bling, I'm gonna have to add on to my house.
I want to know what they make those metals out of, because that is seriously heavy.
I don't know, real close to where the lake is, there's a quarry there, so maybe I don't know, they're digging up something.
It's awesome.
But if you're a triathlete, whether you're a para-triathlete or not, just a regular triathlete, or you know somebody that is, and they want a great triathlon, Leon's Triathlon in Hammond, Indiana, it's always like the first weekend in June, right around June 1st. 40, I think this is the 42nd year he's done it. It's just a local guy that wanted to start it, and Allison's huge. So, or if you know somebody that is an adaptive athlete, and I've been promoted to some of my teammates, if you want to do it, Dare2Tri is a great place to start.
Sure sounds like it.
It is.
Great
I
experience.
can't believe I did it, but I can't wait to do another one
There you
or
go.
another one. So it's a lot of fun. And the training, like I said, I knew I physically was capable of it, but the mindset, I didn't train in the right sports enough. I know I had
But now you know.
I know I had the aerobic conditioning and the strength conditioning. And having you as a trainer, over the 35 years that you've been teaching me things. I knew how to train, but now I know how to be more specific. And, that's the key is even next year, if I'm the only one in my division, okay, so they give me another, now it's time to get the time down.
Yeah, for
Especially the
sure.
transition, because they break your time down, how fast you did this and how fast you did that. And I was definitely a little slow on the bike route about where I expected though, but my transition time needs to be cut way down.
I think though, I've always thought about that with, just before you got involved in this type of thing. Just the transition of any triathlon.
Yeah.
Or Ironman,
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
whatever, it's just like, that you can waste so much
Yep,
time
yep,
and really
yep.
lose the
Yeah,
event
yeah.
just
yep.
in the transition.
Looking at the times of some of the more elite veterans, they're doing the transition in 2 minutes or less. I was up around 7 minutes, but that was also time for me to think about what the heck I just did. Think about what I'm going into, do it safely, make sure you get the helmet on. So things that I know I will improve on.
Well, it becomes second nature for you after you've
Yeah.
done a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, there's lots of different areas you can think about that where are like performers and they run off stage and they're back in hardly any time and they're in a whole new outfit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing
Yep.
with that transition.
Yep.
You can get that down to 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy cow.
Well, it's now it has to become part of your training, where, okay, you go out and swim, okay, and you can go out and bike and you can go out and run, but then you have to, and especially if, like with my going up to the Grand Rapids one, I think they will assign me a handler through the Hartford Nationals, but if I could find somebody in the Grand Rapids here that I know that I can work with, then boom, then we can start working on my transition now and make it easier. Or a family member or a friend that wouldn't mind being in Grand Rapids at like 7 a.m. on a Tuesday.
I mean, I'll call some people.
Yeah, I'll call some
See
people.
what I can
But
find.
definitely, if you have any questions about Dare2Tri or paratriathlons, for us paralyzed folks, whatever, they're called paratris. If you're interested, leave a comment. If you've done triathlons, whether you're an adaptive athlete, if you have any hints, any thoughts, any ways that I can improve on my training, leave comments, share these videos, and most important thing, subscribe, because what's the most important thing to our
It's
channel?
free.
I like free.
Free is good.
And they give away free t-shirts, because I got this and I got the tank top, and then you got the performance one that's real
You didn't
tight.
want to wear the tank top because you didn't want to scare away the viewers, right?
Scare them away one way or another.
Those muscles.
But it's a blast. Dare to Try, Leon's Triathlon. If you're at all interested, do it. Leave us some comments. Appreciate your time. Thank you, folks. Got to hit pause or stop, Troy. Come on, man. Because I know I could talk longer.